In this episode, we're talking nutrition and comparing it to the first time you got laid. You think you're going to get everything right off the bat, and you couldn't even find the hole.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Test, Ickles. Welcome, everyone, to episode 640 of the Daily Mother Whoa, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Slutcast, Nutritioncast, Coffeecast, and Nipplecast. If I said Nipplecast twice, because I got two nips in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. Welcome to the Game Train. Welcome to Pumptown. Welcome to Man City. And if you're from the UK, I'm not talking about your Man City. I'm talking about Papa Swole's Man City. Where the gorillas and the lion beasts that grunt, are large and in charge. So welcome. Here's my note card. It's blank, so who knows what we're going to talk about today. I never use note cards anyway. I put them on the wall. Welcome to episode 640, fam. What's going on? Live on Instagram, live on Facebook, live on Slutbook, and live on Whorecast. We are everywhere, and we're on SoundCloud and iTunes. We are large and in charge, and it's a Monday again. I just realized it's Monday today. When I looked at the time on the computer, it said Mon. I forget what day of the week it is. Yesterday was the Stupid Bowl, and a team won. Everyone, congratulations. And just to make it a point, if the team that you wanted to win won, they won, not you. There's no such thing as our team, because you didn't do a damn thing. You just liked the colors of their shirts and you wanted them to win, and they won. So I hope you enjoyed your lazy Sunday being a fat ass if you were a Super Bowl slut. But welcome to Papa Swole's Game Train. I'm ready to rage. Today. We're going to talk nutrition today. We're going to talk about what it takes to eat healthy. We're going to talk about what it takes to make these changes, and a couple of the unknowns and what people actually do, what some of you are actually doing. And I know you're doing it because I'm having these conversations. I'm getting the messages. I know you're doing these things, and I want to set the record straight for a couple things. Big announcement also for Swolenormous X members. So I'll be dropping that in a couple minutes. So actually, I'll just drop that right now. There's a brand new, right after this episode, there's going to be a brand new yoga flow dropping in Swolenormous X today. Another prop yoga flow, which is going to be sick, using straps, using yoga block, using a tennis ball. So it's a great class. So I hope you enjoy it. And new virtual training coming tomorrow. If I get my fucking shit together and do work today. Papa Swole's got work to do. Did you not watch it either? I didn't know. I didn't watch it. I looked at ESPN.com once in a while. I'd still like to know what's going on, because I know I'm going to get all this stuff in the comments like, yeah, go Eagles, yeah. I mean, on Instagram, I made a post about Tom Brady not being able to deflate these sick fucking gains. Aside from that, I don't care. I love Swolga. Swolga loves you, Varsha. Swolga loves you. Swole Yoga loves you as well. Go Eagles, Eagles Nation, Fly Eagles. Oh, Eric, shut up. Shut up with this Fly Eagle bullshit. What I did find was funny. What we can start this episode with, what I thought was funny, and Eric, you're going to love this. You probably saw this, right? That the Eagles fans obsessively climb street poles for whatever reason, like obsessively, so that the police actually like rubbed the poles down with Crisco, which is actually, Crisco is one of those fucking garbage vegetable oil trans fat things that, we've been talking about recently, but it didn't work. They climbed it anyway. So then they rolled down the big metal poles, like the street sign poles. They rolled the poles with hydraulic fluid. The money was spent to send police officers out in Philadelphia to cover the street poles and the street signs with hydraulic fluid to discourage stupid people in Philadelphia from climbing the poles. Yes, stupid people. Stupid people in Philadelphia. It's stupid. Fucking idiots climbing street poles. What are you, 3 years old? It's a fucking jungle gym. But literally, the funny part is, I thought it was funny because just people standing around like, pole. Okay. So, so, and they did it anyway. Like, there's all these videos online, on Twitter, on YouTube, of people climbing the poles covered in hydraulic fluid anyway, and they didn't fall. Like, do you know how slippery that shit is? You know how slippery Crisco is, and people climbed it anyway. And the news hosts are like, well, I guess, if they're gonna climb it, they're gonna climb it. Man, they'll climb anything. I guess you can't stop them from climbing. It's fucking retarded. But anyway, if you placed a wager on the game, congratulations. If you happen to live in the city and that team won, I guess good for you. I guess you could be happy because you did nothing to deserve it. You were just watching a game like everyone else. But philosophical reasons aside, that's out of the way. Thank fucking God. Thank God that football's over. We can start talking about some other shit. Finally. Oh, I always get happy. I always get happy when football season's over because people can just shut up about it for at least like a month or two. So let's get into the real important stuff. Let's get into the shit that actually makes a difference in our lives. Let's get into the stuff where we are actually active, right? Where we are not lazy fucks. Let's get into the realm of when you are not watching other people be successful. You're not watching other people play sports and be active. Let's talk about your activity. Let's talk about you, in part, shutting your mouth and doing work, in part, shutting your mouth and not eating food. And this episode is about practice. It's about practice with nutrition. So we're going to talk about a couple topics today. I want some questions, so make sure you drop some questions. I want to talk about high fat. I want to talk about ketosis. I want to talk about, there's one, detox. I want to talk about detox. I want to talk about protein. We'll talk about things. We'll talk about some things. But I want to make this clear because I've been having so many questions and so many messages on Facebook and Instagram. The DMs, I love it. Fam, I love it when you be sliding in my DM. Papa loves it. Papa Swole loves it when you slide in that DM. Know what I'm saying? I love it. I love it. So slide up in there, say what up, and I like getting the pulse. I like getting the feel and the flow and understanding because all these messages, and I think some of you are still shocked that I actually answer all these messages myself. Yeah, I get hundreds of emails and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and in Swolenormous X. Like, there's so many messages for me to go through, which is fine. One thing that I do get is the perspective, and I understand what all of you are struggling with. And I know all of these things that you're asking questions about and what you're doing to start, because most of you are coming to me with questions because either you hit a wall or you're just starting, you're trying to figure shit out. So this is good stuff. So I'm getting good information. And one thing I want to start you all with, and those of you that are watching live, you don't see what's written on the board behind me. And let's take a look. You couldn't even find the hole. And what that means is the first time you ever got laid, you couldn't even find the hole. I'll repeat. You're a nutrition virgin, and you couldn't even find the fucking hole the first time you had sex. So what gives you the impression? What gives you the impression? What gives you the fucking right to think that you're going to nail, get it? See what I did there? That you're going to nail your nutrition right away. Boom. There's the answer. What gives you the fucking audacity to think that you're going to have the answer? That something's going to fall out of the fucking sky. So I had a great conversation with a brand new Swolenormous X member this morning, actually before the show. And we're having this conversation that we all have these genetic backgrounds, right? We all have these different ethnicities and these different gene structures that we don't know all about yet. We don't know what all of them do. We don't know how all of them control our reaction to food. We also have access to food that is unprecedented in our species, in human history. And it's only been recently. So in the last, come on, fam, what do you think? Like 100 years, let's just say 200 years, just for argument's sake, right? In the last 200 years, we've only had access as humans to the food that's local in our area. Like, unless you were royal aristocracy, you were super, super affluent, you were in the royal class, you ate what you farmed, you ate what was in the market, you ate what was like where you lived. If you were the king, maybe you got some spices from China or you got some foreign foods and fruits and stuff like that. But if you were 99% of the population in that time period, you ate what you ate. So you didn't have the luxury of an elimination diet. You also didn't have all the fake shit in there, but you ate like these foods. You ate meh, right? Now you can go on Amazon and order anything you want. You can go to Whole Foods or the supermarket and get exotic foods from across the world. Boom, like that. So all of a sudden, we have access to all these different things. And I want you to think about it, because a lot of what we deal with nutrition, first off, the scientific studies that need to be done have not been done. Okay? The research that everyone touts that says this is the answer is shoddy. The tests and the clinical trials that need to be done have not been done. And that's a fact. The reason? Because the way the studies would have to actually be done will cost probably $1 billion or more. And it would hurt the major pharmaceutical and the major food companies, the vegetable oil companies. It would hurt them because the studies would come back showing that stuff is shit. And we all know that. So who's going to fund these $1 billion plus studies? Your guess is as good as mine. That's why it hasn't happened yet. Big surprise, right? It's a shitload of money. It's a shitload of an undertaking. And there's a lot of things that are pushing against that happening. That being said, it takes common sense too. Nutrition is so much more common sense that everyone gives credit for. You don't need a scientific study to know what would be natural for a human to eat. It just makes sense. Humans aren't meant to eat grass and beans and fucking grains and shit from the ground. In some part, vegetables are great. I think vegetables are fantastic. Root vegetable, all those things are great. But we're not meant to survive on all those things. That's why if you do and you go completely vegan, you're missing nutrients. You're missing B vitamins. You're missing essential things in the human diet. So it's common sense. Does that mean that you cannot be a vegan and be healthy? No, of course not. But you need supplements. And on a natural evolutionary level, your body doesn't need supplements. You eat the food that you need to survive, and you survive. We didn't survive by being nutrient deficient. We survived by eating foods that had all of our nutrients, which is meat. So that's common sense. Now, that does not mean that, oh, it's better to do this, it's better to that. I'm not saying that. That's not what this conversation is about. But I'm saying that nutrition can have a lot of common sense when you approach your nutrition. Now, just like finding the hole, now you can just freaking dive right in. And you find the hole real quick because you've been there before. You know why? Because you've had practice fucking. And a lot of you have kids, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Oh, he said a naughty word. He's talking about sex. Shut up. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of you are watching and you have like 3 or 4 kids or 5 kids. You know what happens when you know. You know what that road's all about. But it's practice. It's practice. You get better at those things. Riding a bike, lifting weights, cooking, playing the piano. You get better. Nutrition's no different. And nutrition is no different because we are in the situation where we have access to so many things. So many things. So it's different finding the right foods for us because we have to find the right things for us. We're not taught properly. We're not taught properly in schools. We're not taught properly by our parents because our parents were taught improperly by government and by schools. So the low-fat thing, we've pretty much like shown, we've seen that in the country. It doesn't work. It's not good for you. For most people, it's fucking trash, and we've proven that because diabetes, heart disease, it's fucking skyrocketing, and that's what's been prescribed to us for decades. So that sucks. So everyone and everything in our environment and in our understanding has been programming us to do this. So we have to relearn. We have to relearn nutrition. So we have to practice nutrition. We have to learn what decisions to make. We have to learn what choices to make. We have to learn how much to eat again. We have to learn how to get rid of inflammatory foods from scratch because our bodies never learned how to do that. If you grew up in the wild, let's say 5,000 years ago, you don't need an elimination diet. You need food. And because you can't just go to a market and be like, let me just go to the supermarket and buy that. I'll take 2 pounds of this. I'll take 3 of those. You have to go and fucking look for it frantically so you don't die. So you'll eat everything and anything. You'll eat berries. You'll eat nuts. You'll eat fucking animals. You'll try to kill something because it's called survival. You'll do what it takes to survive. And that's why we're here today, because our ancestors did that. They survived. Okay? We didn't survive by eating beans. We survived by fucking meat. And that's why that's why we've grown taller. That's why our brains have grown. That's why we've developed, because we survived. So, because we've survived doesn't change the fact that we still have to determine those things today. Now there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of supermarkets. There's a lot of food options. There's all these different diets. There's marketing. That's recent. And that's recent. That's recent with like the snake oil salesman. Drink this tonic and feel better, blah, blah, blah. There's evidence in history of other things like that and salesmen and, magic tonic and pills. But usually that was meant for higher ups, People would use natural stuff, spices and things like that. And that's how those types of like herbology or whatever the hell you call it, with the natural healings and stuff were popular because there was only natural stuff. And, a lot of what we know is from ancient traditions and herbs and spices and whatnot. But just realize that you have to learn, and the thought or the audacity, the ego that there is something out there that, boom, this is the answer. Boom, this is going to get you results. Boom, this is the answer for you. If you do this, you'll fucking lose weight because this is the right way. Most people don't know the right way. They might know the right way for them, but there's a lot of confusion about the science because we have these methods of quote unquote proving things. We also have a lot of different options. There's also more than one road to success. Just like I said before, if you choose to be a vegan, does that mean you're going to be unhealthy your whole life? No, it doesn't. Does that mean if you're a full-blown vegan that you are going to be nutrient deficient? Yes, by definition, because you're missing certain things. Can you take a supplement? Sure. Is that going to make you healthy for the rest of your life? We'll find out. We'll find out in 50 years how you're feeling or how you're we don't know. Now, here's another thing. If you're vegan your entire life and then you have a heart attack when you're 80, does that mean it was the diet? Or does that mean that possibly because of the diet, because of something genetically in your body, that diet led to that being exacerbated when you were 80? Maybe it was your genetics, not the diet itself. We're not sure. Same thing with eating meat. Same thing. We don't know because there are a lot of things genetically in our bodies that could be a defect, that could cause something. No matter what you do for nutrition, could cause a heart attack when you're 30, could cause a heart attack when you're 50, could cause diabetes. And we're still doing the science. So we give ourselves too much credit for knowing everything. We think people know things because of how they talk. Doctors, oh, they're a doctor. They know. Where the fuck? How about this? Where the fuck did doctors get all... I have to look that up, right? When did a doctor become... I think it was like an ancient, but when did doctors get all like the trust and all like they're a doctor. They know. They have the answer because they wear a white coat, because they have a stethoscope, because we put the DR in front of their name. They're a doctor. They went to school for a few more years. They're fucking human beings, yo. I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm not saying don't listen to your doctor, but last time I checked, human beings make a lot of fucking mistakes. A lot of fucking mistakes. We got human beings out there climbing those poles in Philadelphia. I wonder if you have any pole climbing MDs out there. What if someone had a few too much to drink, a doctor that was a diehard fan? I wouldn't doubt like a Philadelphia doctor would. I don't have any doubt that a Philadelphia doctor would climb one of those poles. I would love some feedback. I would love someone to say, I know for a fact that my pediatrician was up on that pole like, fly, eagles, fly, eagles. Like, they're human beings. And these human beings, I'm going to blow your fucking mind even more. It's going to make you even less trustworthy of the system. You have these human beings we call doctors that go to school for X amount of years that are taught by other human beings. It's like a game of nutritional and medicinal telephone that are taught by other human beings, that were taught by other human beings. And as you go back, each of these human beings were taught by someone who had less information. Like if you go back and, oh, you went to medical school in 1910, I don't really want, you go back like a couple hundred years, like the Civil War, they were putting mercury up people's asses. I think it was like mercury, right? Like you have a cut here, we have to drain your blood. We have to let your blood out in order to purify it. And they were like rectally like pumping mercury into your asshole and people were just fucking dying. So like as you go further back, you have less qualified people. So your doctor was taught by someone who was less qualified, who was taught by someone who was less qualified, who was taught by someone who was less qualified. It goes back to like your doctor was taught by like Ugg from Rock University. Like, I have a headache. What should I do, Ugg? I should hit my head with a rock. And then you fucking bonk and you die. Now, I'm just saying that people are people, right? People are people. And people are manipulated. People are told to sell certain things. Pharmaceutical companies and representatives encourage doctors to fucking push certain medications because they make money. The doctors get kickbacks. Everyone's getting jerked off and fingered under the table. And it's a huge business. Have you forgotten how much your health insurance costs? Have you forgotten how much your health insurance costs? Where do you think that money goes? Right? Where the fuck do you think that money goes? It goes to the doctor, it goes to the insurance companies, it goes to the pharmaceutical companies. Where do you think this money goes? It comes out of your pocket, I know, but like, where do you think it goes? It's a business. It's trillions of dollars. Is it trillions? It's billions, obviously. It's a fucking huge industry. And what's so different from the medical, from the food, pharmaceutical? Like, it's all one. It's all tied together. That's why these things get so blurred. So my point is not that your doctor is wrong, because there's a lot of doctors that are preaching stuff that's fringe according to the medical community. But there's a lot of doctors out there that are saying high fat, keto, and this, that, and the other. You know, of course, they have their own supplements and stuff like that. But there are a lot of doctors, and doctors can be biased. They're people. There are doctors that super support the vegan style, and they're like, you know, so-and-so MD, you know, says veganism is this. Does that make him right? Because I could just go over here to Dr. Keto over here, and he's like, high fat is the answer because high fat, blah, 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 blah. And I go over here and they're like, well, I think that pescatarian and you should do Mediterranean. And you have like Dr. French Riviera over here. So you have really people, humans. I mean, you can have a group of doctors in a room, medical doctors, all pass their boards, all doctors, all humans in the same room, and they can all disagree on nutrition and cite sources and have a debate. No one's going to debate that a foot is below the tibia. Oh, the foot's down there. We agree. You passed anatomy too, John? Yes, I sure did. The head's here. Oh, there's a cranial nerve. Oh, there's a finger here. Oh, here's another one. But about nutrition, there's so many subtleties that a lot of people aren't going to agree. Human beings, yo. Human beings, and that's common sense. And we start talking about shit and we're joking a little bit. I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but it's also the kind of thing, it's like a comedy, right? Stand-up comedian. When you say something that's like, oh my God, that's so wrong. Oh my God, that's hysterical. But it's funny because it's fucking true. It's one of those things that's funny because it's fucked up and true. So you laugh because you're like, oh shit, that's fucking right on point. And you laugh because it's so incredulously and so ridiculous, but then you also realize it's a fact and you laugh because you're like, fuck, should I cry? Or should I laugh? Like, you laugh as a defense mechanism. It's like, fuck, yeah, I've been believing these people my whole life. It's the same guy that goes home and jerks off into a sock, your doctor. He goes home and looks up like fucking bestiality porn on his computer, you know, in his Google incognito browser so no one can track him. I'm looking at you, doc. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. I know you like snakes. Yeah, and gerbils. I saw it. I saw it. This show's so fucked up. This show is so fucked up. Oh, I love this podcast. I love it. Float some hearts, float some thumbs. Let's take some questions. How far can I go down that road before it really gets dark? My point is nutrition is a practice, and if you're not committed to making that practice, if you're not committed to the journey and the work that's going to take to hack through the bullshit. And you can do this. And why do I promote the elimination diet? Is because if you figure out and you determine which foods are causing you inflammation, which foods are causing you allergic reactions, which foods are causing you insomnia, sweating, high blood pressure, high elevated heart rate, respiratory rate, joint pain, soreness, dehydration, headaches. If you're figuring out systematically which foods do that, then you're able to choose ketosis. You're able to choose, fat adapted. You're able to choose pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan. You can make those choices and keep those foods that you know are bad for you off your plate. And then your style of eating, whether or not you want to do carb cycling or intermittent fasting or reverse dieting or inverse dieting or anal dieting, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter as much. That's your style. That's your lifestyle habits. That's where you feel better. But then you're not eating the garbage foods. So the reason why a lot of these diets work, it's because you're eliminating inflammatory and toxic foods. When you go paleo, you're not eating chips and garbage and soda. Wow, it works. I lost 20 pounds doing keto because you stopped fucking eating garbage. Like, what is wrong with everyone? What is wrong with everyone? You did ketosis and you lost 15 pounds because you stopped eating chips, because you stopped drinking soda, because you fucking stopped eating bad food. Of course you lost weight. Oh, but I lost 30 pounds, went to veganism because you stopped eating fucking garbage. You stopped sucking down fucking processed dairy, low-fat skim soda all the fucking time. You stopped eating pounds and pounds of fucking cheese coated in vegetable oil and garbage. Why do you think you saw a change? Because you shut your fucking mouth and stopped eating shit. So these diets, did they really work? Or were you finally consistently not eating trash for the first time in your fucking life? And your body is breathing a sigh of relief by exposing some of these fucking toxins and water that you're retaining. I think that's the answer. And that's why you might lose 15 pounds, 20 pounds, and then hit a fucking wall. Because your body lost that initial weight from the shit you're not eating, but then, oh, this is not really right for me. And then you hit a wall. Or you're not exercising because you're not practicing. You think, oh, I'll do this and that's the answer and I'll get it. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. You have to practice. You have to put in that work. And if you're not willing to really get into it, you're going to hit that wall too. And that's where I come in, because I can help you go through that, and I'm going to help open your eyes to those things. So let's take some questions, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a nice little rant, but understand that nutrition is a practice and that you can even find the hole. You can even find where your pee-pee goes, or where the pee-pee goes, depends on what side of the pee-pee that you're on. But you can even figure that out when you first start using it. So with all these options, what makes you think that all of a sudden you're going to nail your nutrition? I think we have a little bit of an ego. I think we have a little bit too much faith in humans. I think we should have faith in humans, but I think we have a little too much faith in what people know and what people's intentions are when they talk about nutrition and what really we know for a fact. Because people throw around fact so much when there's really nothing to show that it's actually fact. And the problem is with that medical telephone game is that a lot of times that gets translated into fact and the real truth gets lost in the shuffle, and then we all abide by it, and then we get sicker and sicker, like what's happened with the low fat thing. We forgot that it was based on bullshit research or lack thereof, and then epic rant. I know, that was good, right? I'm gonna have to tear this episode up for some little mini clips, so I hope you enjoyed it. This is what I want you to do. Remember, if you haven't yet left a Facebook review on my Facebook page, even if you're on Instagram, because I'm waiting for Instagram to do that, right? For business pages. Wouldn't it be great if you're able to leave like reviews or stars or something on a business page on Instagram? I feel like that's a huge like Why don't we have that yet? I think that'd be awesome. But if you haven't yet left a review on Facebook, I'd really appreciate it. Even if you're on Instagram and you hate Facebook, but you love the show, I mean, come on. I mean, drop the love where it needs to be dropped. But if you're also on Facebook and you haven't left a review yet, I would much appreciate it, especially if you love the show. Show the love, let everyone else know that you do love it and that they should love it as well, because Papa Swolio is always trying to drop some solid nukes. So let's do some questions live on Instagram and Facebook. Remember, fam, the podcast, SoundCloud and iTunes. Just type in Swolenormous. What are we, Daily Swole? What are we, yes, new yoga class tonight in Swolenormous X. So if you're interested in my programs, in the weekly workshops, virtual trainings, yoga classes, really putting all this shit into practice, Swolenormousx.com. Swolenormousx.com. Scourge of Desires. Epic rant, man. People should pay to listen to this. Too good to be free. I appreciate it. I think it's knowledge that should be shared with the world. And of course, I do have those other services and programs and private content that you can't find anywhere else. And that's the great thing about the Swolenormous X and the private community here on Facebook and on Instagram, on my private platform, my site, swolenormousx.com, is that there's always more. There's more ways to put this shit into action, but it depends on what you're looking for. But Papa Swolio is here for everyone. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone that shows up here is part of the family as well. So let me scroll through and get some questions. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining live. If you are, John Harrison, their ego is more important than your health. No shit. Look, doctors are notoriously, right? Doctors are notorious for their ego. And it's hard to, just like any human, it's hard to either encourage someone that they're incorrect or to have a debate or a conversation. People are stuck in their ways. Varsha on Instagram, during elimination diet, I started liking coconut oil and stopped buying refined sunflower oil. Huge difference. Isn't meat and inflammation causing food? It depends on what you're referring to as inflammation. I have read that certain markers can be elevated, but I'm not sure what the actual clinical research is on, because that's the thing with these clinical studies, fam. You might read something that says, oh, inflammation raises X, Y, and Z, or not inflammation, red meat raises this marker that could be a marker that can elevate for the heart. Well, what study shows that? And was it a longitudinal study? What were the participants doing? Were they followed for 10, 15, 20 years? Were they eating grass-fed beef? Were they exercising? Were they smoking? Were they not smoking? Were they sedentary at work? What else were they eating? Like, that's where this gets, and honestly, I'm open. I just had another conversation earlier, like I said, with another new Swolenormous X member, that if there's a study that comes out, like if there's a huge, massive clinical trial, randomized, double-blind, the whole thing, like legit multi-country study, fucking billions of dollars, like they put the money in and do it, and it shows like a direct correlation, eating this is bad, or eating, then we'll have another conversation about it, because we have to learn these things. My point is combining what we know from the science, what we know from the results. Like, we know that these refined oils, we pretty much know. We can tell because we've been eating refined oils in this country for 50 or 60 years, and our health is going garbage. We've been doing low fat for 60 years. I mean, where's the common sense? Where's the objectivity? Where's the obvious, like, oh shit, look at that. Remember the correlation versus causation? You can have an association that people that wear white shoes have heart attacks, but it doesn't mean that white shoes cause heart attacks. It's just a coincidence, essentially. Now, if you show people that wore black shoes and were fine, they put on white shoes and all of a sudden their triglycerides went through the roof, it's like, oh shit, we got to do some more studies on that. That's like really showing that it's, and then they do more studies to prove that it's the shoes that raises triglycerides. And it's as arbitrary as anything else. So we have these random things that might show some evidence of something like that happening, but is it done in fucking rats? Is it done in mice? Rats and mice. I don't care how many studies they do on rats and mice. They're not human beings. And what are those people doing? Are they in a box? Are they in prison? Are they mental patients? What are their genetics? What's their DNA? What are their predispositions? Do they have a predisposition for heart disease? Are these people that are doing the studies, do they have a family history of heart disease? Because that skews the results. Do you understand, like, just from the shit that I'm saying? I'm not trying to be nitpicky and I'm not trying to be devil's advocate, but this is why the studies aren't there. This is why the research doesn't exist, because just from me having this conversation and you listening, like, there's a fucking shit ton of variables. That's what science is about. Because having a family history of heart disease could skew the results of whatever you're eating. You might have a heart attack between 30 and 50, regardless of whether you're vegan, an omnivore, a carnivore, a pescatarian. It might not matter. You're going to have a fucking heart failure by the time you're 50. It might help you live 10 more years, but is that a win? We don't know, because that's one person. Then we have to do a test on everyone that has congenital heart disease and issues, that has heart attacks before 50, and then test that food on all of them and see if it, like, that's what it takes to get proof or get conclusive things like, wow, that's as close to proof as we're going to get. It's extremely challenging. There's so many loopholes. And if you're not familiar with how medicine and how scientific studies work, you're going to look at that and say, well, you could say this, well, you could say anything. Yeah, it's called life. Like, that's how it works. You can say anything. You can test anything. And that's why there are thousands of studies on caffeine. That's why there are thousands of studies on creatine. That's why there are thousands of studies, because one study prove a fact doth not. Does not. A fact it doth not prove, or whatever. I'm just trying to be funny there. Which is pretty easy for me, because I'm pretty funny looking. Ha ha ha. Shut up. Split personality issues much. One thing that this human being does not need is more caffeine, so let's refill that shit. Let's take another sip of coffee. And I was scrolling back for some questions, but I'm going to have to pass on some of those older ones. Let's do some of the newer questions, just because I'll be scrolling all day. Take a few. Dustin Parks on Facebook. Any thoughts on catch-22 foods? What are catch-22 foods? Is that, I don't know. I don't even know what that is. Just realize how much gas many vegetables, sweet potatoes create. Gas, many vegetables, etc., lead to pain or reliance on anti-gas meds. I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not even going to speak on that. What do you mean, like creating gas in the body? How much gas many vegetables? Any thoughts? I don't know. I think we're well aware that micronutrients are important, that vegetables are not bad for the body. I don't think there's any research or any evidence that shows. I mean, some people have issues with vitamin K and stuff like that, but I don't know. Reliance on anti-gas meds. I don't think it. I mean, shit, are you on anti-gas meds? I don't even know. I'm going to leave that question. I have no idea what really you're asking exactly. And I certainly don't have any answers based on gas-related medication. Michael Bastian on Facebook. Research studies are like polls. They can be biased to whatever outcome is desired. 1,000%, fam. Absolutely. Especially if you do like an epidemiological study where you look at correlations. Where if you look at correlations, you can make any kind of correlation. The problem is now, because of the internet and the transmittance of information, we're able to find these things out easier and share them with our peers. 60 years ago, it was in a medical journal and only a few people had access to it and no one else knew or cared, and we believed the one or two channels or the newspaper, where that was the only way we got our news. So it was extremely manipulated. It was very, very controlled. Only a few people would pass around this information, and everyone, remember people you see in the movies, extra, extra, read all about it. Fats are bad. Saturated fats, raid, hard blood cholesterol. Don't eat fats. Get rid of your fats. Hide your children. Hide your dog. Fats are bad. Low fat diet. American Heart Association. Extra, extra, read all about it. And then boom, no one's eating fats anymore. Fats kill people. Fats kill people. Get rid of fats. That's it. Now you can go online. You see so much information. So is there really that much noise? Or how about this? Ready? Is there really that much noise in the nutrition industry? Is there really that many voices or that many opinions? Or is it just that no one really fucking knows the answer? Is that really what it comes down to? There's just so many people saying so many different things. Maybe it's because no one really fucking knows. And no one really wants to admit it because they have an MD after their name, because they're a doctor, because they've been doing this for 40 years, so this is the answer. And I'm sticking to it. And then they die, and then, okay, no one cares about their opinion anymore. So people get stuck in their ways, and people defend what they grew up believing. If you've built a career, a successful career for 50 years based on a certain principle, I think you're going to hold on to it and protect it with your life, because you don't want to believe that you've been preaching bullshit your entire life and that you've been promoting a lie or promoting untruths. You don't want to believe that. So you're going to defend it hard. And that's the way humans work. So as shitty as that sounds, they're humans, and people are going to defend their shitty decisions. People are going to defend their shitty decisions. Most people do. Denials, when you cheat on someone or you're a skeezy politician, you defend it. No, I did this. No, I didn't do it. And then you find out the person fucking did it. Oh, no, there's pictures. Oh, there's audio recordings. Oh, he literally did it. And he just literally lied. People lie? People lie. Your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your whatever, you hear your friends and people cheating and they lied and they said this. You don't think doctors lie? They're fucking the same people. They're the same people. Catholic priests molesting boys and shit. Like, people are deceptive? No way. Santa Claus, where are you? Where's the Easter Bunny? Mommy. People are fucking pieces of shit. People are deceptive. They lie. They look out for their own best interest. They make shit up. All these things that I just said are things that happen from people that we trust. Lance Armstrong, he's an American hero. He doesn't take steroids. He doesn't cheat. I don't cheat. I have never taken things. I have one testicle. I'm an American hero. I ride my bike. And he was taking tons of shit. All the time. Same thing with Instagram, with like the Instagram bodybuilders and this. I'm a lifetime natty. No, you're not. You fucking lying piece of shit. There's so many of them on there. I'm going to do some more driving while gainings on YouTube. I'm ready to rage. Yeah, it's just, there's so many pieces of shit out there that just fucking lie to people's faces. So that's nothing new. Let's take some more questions before we head out, because we're getting down to it. Laura Rudzer on the Facebook. So if your question didn't get answered earlier, you could just drop it down below again. If you're not still watching, doesn't matter if you asked it earlier. You got to be here. So ask it again. Laura Rudzer, any guidance on working out when sick with a cold or something similar? Don't. There's your guidance. Fucking recover, heal. If you feel good enough to work out, I mean, you don't want to spread your shit, but if you have a headache and you're sick and you're congested, it's probably better that you rest because your body is fighting off an infection. So probably better not to stress your body more and make it more challenging. You're not going to sweat anything out. Viruses don't go out through your skin. That's fucking garbage. As many times as someone might say, oh, I work out and it goes away, you're getting better anyway. A lot of times, just as well, you'll work out and feel like shit or feel worse or make it worse, or you'll be sick longer. Tom Mays, I found it kind of ironic that there are fat doctors, right? Yeah, if doctors were so damn healthy, how come so many of them are overweight? I just had my bulletproof coffee, love good fats, so do I. How often should a person work out? It depends on your goal and your experience and what you can handle. What's the best time to do yoga? On Instagram, Varsha. I am doing 20 minutes after getting up in the morning, and many people here say drink warm water to improve metabolism. So you got two questions. Best time to do yoga? The best time to do yoga is whenever you can do yoga. The morning is great. The evening is great. The afternoon is great. On a full moon is fantastic. Doing yoga, period, is amazing. You're doing drink warm water to improve metabolism. I've actually heard drink cold water because your body has to utilize thermogenesis to heat up the water. I don't know much about warm water to improve metabolism. Sometimes I drink a lot of room temperature water, but it doesn't mean I do it for a reason. I drink filtered water. I drink like but I don't have ice in it all the time. I don't think anything about it. I think drink enough water. If you want to drink warm water, that's fine. It'll become body temperature soon enough anyway. But I would think a little bit on the cooler side would be better for the body, just more natural. But then you might drink tea and coffee, so you're getting hot liquids too. Your body can do it all. It's an amazing system. Yellow Dog on Instagram. I'm going to give you an accent because it says Yellow Dog. Yellow 2AWG. How long does it typically take to correct imbalances in lats and traps when doing unilateral and iso movements? All right, let me read that again. How long does it typically take to correct imbalances in lats and traps when doing unilateral and iso movements? Is that really a question? First off, give me something specific. What's your imbalance? When you're do you have an imbalance from unilateral and isometric movements? Are you trying to correct them with a unilateral or isometric movement? How long depends on so many factors. So I really don't have an answer for how long anyway, but I'm not even sure what you're really asking. So if you want to rephrase that, I'll see if it comes up again. But how long to correct imbalances? It depends on the severity of the imbalance and why the imbalance was caused. But I don't know if you mean to correct it doing those movements or because those movements caused whatever you're saying. And give me a specific movement. Like, I'm not sure. That's not really a clear question. Brad Castleberry, all natty, bro. Oh, God, fuck that guy. Let's see. Cold water in the morning with cayenne pepper. Enjoy that. I'll pass. For metabolism, how about eating food and exercising? That's what's going to help your metabolism. Everyone thinks like they're going to eat something and it's going to light like a fucking fire. Their stomach like, I'm angry now. Now we're going to shred fat. No, you need to get off your fat ass and start exercising and eating better. Drinking cayenne pepper isn't going to be the thing that gets you the body that you want. Oh, that I don't think that's disputed at all. Did you ask the question again? How long does it typically take to correct and lats when to correct such? Oh, you just asked the same question twice. And I still don't know what it means. No, you put it in a capsule. I know. I'm just, what do you think a capsule does? It breaks down in there. It's just a different way of consuming it. You just don't taste it. Yeah, fine. I mean, I've cayenne pepper. Cayenne, I believe, is very alkaline, so there's nothing wrong with that. You could just you could squeeze some fresh lemon, not the pre-made lemon juice, but some fresh lemon in water is excellent. It's very alkalizing. Bum, 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 bum. I know, Jared. I'm just. Yeah, you do whatever you want, man. I'm not saying anything bad about it. Bum, chicka, bum. Bum. Good questions, fam. Great episode. I'm gonna have to take some good snippets from. I'm gonna make some little mini vids. Maybe I'll do that today or later on. Chelsea Wiley on Facebook, showing my mom how to use Facebook, and the first thing that pops up, you couldn't even find the right hole the first time you had sex. That's the Daily Swole for you, showing my mom how to use Facebook. You're like, here, and you can even watch live videos, Mom. There are even live videos on Facebook. It's like you couldn't even find the puss hole the first time you had sex. And Papa Soy's bearded guy is fucking raging and alive. And your mom's like, oh, honey, I don't think Facebook is for me. What are you watching? Now she thinks Facebook is porn. Oh, so enjoy that. That's an awkward conversation. You're going to be my BFF. Okie dokie. All righty then. Let's do one more question. Uno más. Annie Buzalaki. I like it. Annie Buzalaki. Can you recommend a good source online for proper form videos or articles? I see a lot of videos with terrible form. Looking for something reliable. My content. My stuff. Absolutely. If you just want proper form videos, I do a lot of instructional videos on Swolenormous X. I have probably some on my YouTube channel. I've used to do some full workouts on my YouTube channel. A good source online for proper form. I don't look up proper form. I do it myself. So I have a lot of that content in my private member site, swolenormousx.com. So I don't have another site that I could just like recommend off the top of my head. I have to look at it first because I don't peruse the internet for those things personally. I film them myself. I don't consume a lot of other people's content, by the way, for anyone that sometimes be like, hey, have you seen this? I really don't. I don't go on the net. I don't scroll. I don't watch people's videos. Very, 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 very rarely. I'm just busy fucking doing all my shit. Plus Scott Herman. Yeah, I'm aware of who he is. I do not know his content though. Let's see. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Bah. But they're out there. I just don't know. Like, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anyone or any specific personality out there because they might do 10 things right. And then I'll see other 5 things they do and be like, ah, fuck. And that'll be enough for me not to recommend someone. So honestly, for me, it would have to be on a per video basis, and I have to hear what they're saying about it because there's a lot of corrective exercise, a lot of activation exercises, and there's some things that they might say in the video that I don't agree with. So really, it's a video by video basis, and that's why I make my own content because I do it my way and I do it in my opinion and my expert experience the right way, just from what I do. So is put on his content is put on is on. Put Goldilocks is on. That's your opinion. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on it. Valid point. Thanks for your input. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, that's why I make my own videos. That's why I have my own stuff. So mine's all on my site, Swolenormousx.com, if you're interested with that. And that being said, brand new Yoga Flow prop yoga class coming to Swolenormous X today. So super exciting for those of you that are members. And definitely be doing a live Q&A session tonight in Swolenormous Premium, which is the private group here on Facebook for those of you that are members of X and from the previous premium community. So again, if you're interested in joining the private community, Swolenormousx.com for all my other content. And everyone else, hope you enjoyed this episode live on Instagram, live on Facebook. Episode 640. Huh? You like it? 640? How was it? Good fucking rants. What an epic episode. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me for 640 of the Daily Mother of Swole, the most muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Pimpcast, and, yeah, Jackcast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce, Magoose. Papa Swolio. Out.